Welcome everyone. I'm Siobhan, the host of Working Wonders, a SCRIP-J vlog series where we will be chatting with leading persons of interest as they delve into both their personal and professional lives to share with us interesting nuggets, which we hope will inspire and motivate you to create positive changes in your lives as well as in the communities where you reside. Today, we'll be chatting with Matthew Moses, CEO at Bell Insurance Services Ltd.
Okay, so the aim of today is to get to know you a little better, both professionally and personally. So tell me, what was early life like for Matthew Moses that led you to where you are now? Some of your experiences.
Okay. Well, I'm from a family of 6 siblings and about 40 first cousins, so quite a large family. And in a weird way, not just a large family, but a very loud family. And in many ways, we were driving each other constantly to do better and be better. And I believe it's really shaped me to where I am today. Constantly, we sort of propel each other and elevate each other and motivate each other. So it's been a really good thing coming from that family base, which I believe is one of my biggest assets, the people that stand behind me.
So I guess at what point did you realize that this is the career path that I want to?
Nobody ever goes into insurance, well, at least they don't admit it, going into insurance or dream of being in insurance. I think it's one of those things that you kind of evolve into. I went to university in Canada and in the UK, studied economics. I did okay. What I got from it mostly was to help me think analytically, and it allowed me to work well in group projects, and also being exposed to different universities. I was also mixing with people from around the world. When I graduated, I knew I didn't want to move home right away. I knew I wanted to get some international experience working in London. And I applied to jobs in the banking space, the consultancy space, and in the insurance space, all finance related, of course. And the opportunity came up to get a job with Willis Towers Watson, which is one of the world's largest reinsurance brokers, and headquartered in London, but with offices around the world. At that point, I was exposed to the Lloyd's of London market. Willis was basically directly across the Lloyd's of London market. And that's when I really got so interested in the insurance space. It was only working in that little moment that I was like, well, this is actually a career that I could evolve into. Basically, a bit about what I did when I was in London. But I didn't really think I'll be staying there for that long, but actually I ended up staying in London for about maybe 8 years working with Willis. So it was quite a large part of my career path after graduating. But what made me really fall in love with insurance was the Lloyd's of London market, where every day I would be in this marketplace filled with people from around the world, motivated, people who wanted to be there. And the Lloyd's of London market is this really unique place because it's the most capitalized and strongest insurance market in the world, and where they insure everything from mines in South Africa to hotel chains in the Caribbean to cargo ships carrying goods to Ronaldo's legs. It really is an interesting place from the insurance point of view. And that exposure was really good for me. That's what really gave me that motivation to continue wanting to be in the insurance market.
Okay. And if you had to describe yourself in 3 words, what would those words be?
So 3 words now or 3 words growing up? I mean, I guess it's a twofold question, but I've always thought of myself as determined, honest, and fair. Those are my 3 words. I think I've stayed consistent to that throughout my life.
That's good. And bringing it back to the company that you're involved in now, Bell, how would you explain your services and products in terms of its impact? Would you say it has a positive impact on your clientele? Or?
Yeah. So before I go into talking about Bell, I would probably like to share about how Bell came about. So, in Lloyd's of London, working there and being around the Lloyd's of London market, every day you'd walk into this really interesting building where it's filled of underwriters who are the sellers and the brokers who are the buyers, and everybody's sharing and trading and transferring risk in this incredible marketplace. But what sits in the middle of the Lloyd's market is this 50-foot, historic lutein bell, which was taken from one of the old ships in the early 1600s, whatever. And historically, the bell was rung for when a ship was steering off course, or it was lost at sea, or it was possibly sunk. And what they would do is they would ring the bell so that any underwriters and brokers can be made aware of news simultaneously, so they can't transfer risk to avoid prejudicing someone from not knowing that there's a possibility of a claim. So over time, obviously with technology and the fact that things are more advanced, the bell is more ceremonial, but it still stands in the Lloyd's market as the center of the market. And it stands because it promotes, or it holds on to what Lloyd stands for, which is the ability to pay claims always, and a duty of care and fairness. So when I launched Bell, I thought of no better name than Bell. I wanted to have something that held on to the principles of insurance that stood from the center market of the world. And that's where the birth of Bell came from. And to this day, that's what I hold, or we hold as a company, very much part of our credo, is responsibility to be paying claims, always being fair, and having a motivation to be the best, which is what Lloyd's really does stand true for, and it's what Bell stands true for.
So that being said, what is the future outlook you see for your company, by extension, regional, and I guess how you see it impacting wider society?
Okay. So insurance is a weird thing, because insurance is effectively a piece of paper that supports or holds a claim, or a transfer of risk from the person buying the insurance, so that piece of paper, for someone or an insurer to pay a claim. So effectively, it's a promise. And in Trinidad, around the world, but in Trinidad, there is sometimes an apathy with insurance. People see insurance as a necessary evil, where they maybe they've had a negative experience with a past agent or insurer or broker, or they've had a claim that they did not get the claim they were hoping to get, or there was or they've had no claims and they've just paid premiums every year. Somehow there's a little apathy that you get with conversations with people in the insurance market. We're cognizant of that, and that's why we're so service driven and ensuring that we're not just an insurance brokerage. We have to be different. We have to elevate the experience. We have to make it all about being a 360-degree firm, where our bond is our word. We stand true to what we are with paying claims and being responsible for being great and service oriented in every possible way, but also ensuring that people get the value that they're supposed to be getting when purchasing the insurance. So that's a big part of what we stand for. It's ensuring service and competitiveness stay true to our essence in everything that we do. I don't know if I answered that question.
Yes, you did. You helped decipher between a lot of the insurance companies that exist, as you say, where people feel like it is they're not treated fairly, or like people.
Yeah. I don't want to come across negative to the insurance market though, because there's a really strong market, well capitalized in Trinidad. There are 15 plus insurers, about 40 plus brokers. It's a very mature market, and it's a great market, but there are opportunities to always advance the market. So I think your question was maybe twofold, but what else are we doing in addition to providing a better service, or in addition to being more competitive? I'm passionate about technology, big time. I've always thought technology serves a really useful purpose, and there is you're starting to see more penetration of technology within businesses, and that's a great thing. We're no different. Our internal workings of our company is very much focused on always having really useful and really advanced technology programs to enhance the customer service experience, but also enhance how we interact with insurers. Things are more streamlined. We're able to do things a lot faster, and we use a lot of binder agreements with insurers to make the process of placing the insurance a lot more streamlined and faster. But in 2018, so last year, I co-founded an insurance technology business, it's called Shift.tt, it's like Expedia for car insurance, where users go online, they enter some information about themselves, they're able to very simple questions, all less than 3-4 minutes, and then what happens is you get quotes from all the different insurers, and you're able to purchase your insurance right there and then.
So it takes away from having to necessarily call a brokerage and do that over the phone. You can just do it at your fingertips.
So it's enhance the time and the experience. It's also to save money, but it's also for transparency. And transparency is something that's lacking big time in the marketplace. Nobody knows what they're getting. What is this piece of paper? What does this mean? How does this go? So it's creating a little bit more of a consumer-focused way of purchasing the insurance. Right now it's on motor insurance, but we will be going to other lines eventually that could be a lot more streamlined.
Because that was another question I was going to ask. What other areas do you cover besides motor? But I guess you just answered that.
Right. So Bell is a full service brokerage. We do all lines of insurance, from property to health to liability to medical mal to terrorism to motor, of course. So we have the full spectrum of insurance that we place, and our team is around roughly 9 people now and growing. We're based in 2 offices, one in Port of Spain and one in Arima, and our clientele is predominantly medium to large enterprises and private clients as well. And the business is roughly we have about 5,000 clients, so we are growing in a really nice progression. In terms of the next wave for where the business is, Shift does represent a big part of that strategy. Right. Particularly if you look at the market where, I'm not talking not my parents and that generation, but the generation now coming up, who are glued to their phones, who are doing more stuff online, where they're more trustworthy of the online experience. They see the value of the internet. That's a big part of that market. And they're now starting to come up into having a disposable income where they need to purchase their own home, and they need insurance for their home, or they have their own car and they need the insurance for the car. So that market is really where our focus is on. And it has been really successful. The first year has been really good for us. But what's surprising is we've actually had a lot of customers onto Shift who are above the ages of 45. And that's a really promising story. It shows that there is an aptitude for Trinidadians to do business on the internet, and particularly insurance business, which is seen sometimes as a difficult thing to understand, So it kind of shows that we're doing our job in making transparency to the insurance a lot better, but it's going to be a continual growth for us, and that's a big focus for us, definitely.
Okay, so how do you see your company creating positive changes in society?
That's a pretty good question. We are a Trini company, and by all means, we are not just here to do good business in Trinidad. I mean, that's a fundamental part of what we do, but we are passionate about ensuring that we offer and give back to our own country that we want to see it succeed and grow. One of the more devastating things that happened and impacted us, forget the earthquake that happened last year, which we had a few clients and we had some serious claims to pay out for. One of the more devastating ones from a non-insurance point of view was the floods. I think it was in October last year, November, yeah. And I mean, our team is about 9 people, and we had some people. Luckily, nobody got affected personally. But I mean, everybody had a friend or somebody who they knew was affected and by some way or form or fashion in the floods. So what we did is we, through our network of clients, we were able to raise some funds, but also we were able to get some stuff donated from a few of our clients who had relative like some products that were useful. And we also had to, buy a few products as well. And we created hampers and we went out to some of the affected parts on a Saturday, on a Sunday, put on some welly boots, and we went and just, saw the communities. And that was a big part for the entire team. And it was incredible just being together and going and being part of something. It wasn't formal, we didn't brand it, we didn't want to have this, ridiculous initiative. There were many companies that were doing great stuff, and we can't compare to that. But just being at the field or where something like this was very, disturbing that people were being affected in this way, and they were living like that for weeks and weeks after the floods occurred. Just being there and being able to do what we can do in our own way was really special. So that for me was one of the more impactful things that we did from a CSR point of view. In the future, doing things in a more formal way would be something we'll look at. I think it's important. There's a huge business case for CSR, where we can not just do things on an ad hoc basis, but on a more continuous basis.
Right.
And there'll be some programs that we'll be looking at doing for that point of view. On a personal level, I'm involved in a few charities, and if I can find some way of bringing those charities into the business, that will be a natural start.
And you mentioned just now that you're a part of a team of about 9 or so. So it's pretty small. So what are some of the pros to that, you think, when compared to larger companies with various departments of, hundreds of other?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So what you see in Trinidad, in a lot of ways, especially the bigger companies, is you see segmentation and you see departments and you see a lot of structure that are very necessary in many big companies. But the beauty of a small business and a brokerage, which will always be in a smaller level compared to some of the bigger companies, we have the ability to be flexible and dynamic. And what I've always tried to do in this kind of embryonic stage of the business growing is to avoid the need for these, heavy departments and siloing that exists in so many companies. Even in the insurance sector, what it has done and what I continue to do is it gives people the exposure to each other's work, and it allows for a more broad skill set, and I think that's a really beneficial thing. I mean, for anybody being part of the team, to understand not just their own work, but you understand the full process. You really get to be exposed to all areas. So someone just involved in handling and dealing with insurers and getting quotes should also have a knowledge on the claims experience side.
Right.
And someone involved on the claims experience side should also have some fundamental knowledge in accounting. So there is really, in my opinion, the need for more holistic understanding on the insurance business, and that's what I've always tried to do. The reason why I got that or wanted to make sure that was part of the growth of Bell was it was actually being done in London when I was there in however long ago, and that was something I was like, well, wow, this is a place that has so many moving parts, but you're seeing efforts being made to move these systems and these kind of archaic structures away from a more dynamic, younger, progressive kind of environment. So that's something I'm going to hopefully continue to ensure it stays true to our business model.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
And this one is more for the upcoming graduates from secondary, tertiary school. What advice would you have for them, for those who want to follow in your footsteps, essentially?
All right. So advice that I feel confident in giving somebody. Well, the first and foremost thing is hard work, sweat, and do not study what anyone says. That's the only advice. Well, that's the advice that I feel would give. Well, that's what gave me. Well, someone gave me that back in the day, but that's something. If I've been told that now, I'll be really thankful, because I think that's one of the truest things that you would get or the results you get from putting work into your business. I've always made goals for myself, and I think that's an important thing to always have. But it's also okay to break some of those goals or amend some of those goals. Being dynamic is very important. Other advice I could give, in terms of business, always look at your opportunities or opportunities that exist, maybe not necessarily already in Trinidad, but you can see things that exist in the foreign markets, something you saw on TV, something you dreamt about. That's where some of the best business ideas come out of. So dream big, don't necessarily just think of what the country is now and what the country is doing now, and that's where you're gonna be. You have to kind of elevate your ideas, and it's a very big part of, it's an exciting time for people in the next generation. They're exposed to so much more than we were ever exposed to, and it's only gonna get more and more and more, so.
What about any personal advice to go alongside that?
Listen to people. I sometimes need a reminder of this myself because it's one of the easiest things to say, but you actually get about 1,000 times more results by listening to someone rather than always needing to speak.
Right.
I think that's a really important thing you can really get from a personal level and a professional level, of course.
Right.
Other things as well is don't be afraid to start something that somebody else is already doing. So many times in business, you feel that there's just better run companies that dominate the field, and it's really almost market's cornered off, or you feel that you're gonna have a hard time getting in there. This was very much something I saw in insurance when I was still in London, but I moved back to Trinidad, and there's a really mature market full of really good, really veteran brokers, really strong insurers, and it can be intimidating. But I believe once you do something with energy, integrity, and you put customers at your very core, people will support you. I'm a big believer in that.
So, before we close things off, was there anything that we didn't mention that you would like to touch on, or you think
on that question?
Anything you think would be worth mentioning?
Let me think. We spoke about technology.
Mm-hmm. If you think
from a youth point of view, I think we mentioned a point where I wanted to kind of like speak a bit more about it. Technology is so important, and the youth now have a really good opportunity at their fingertips. The reason being is that we didn't grow up with the social media craze that is existing now, which there are negatives to that, but a lot of positives, as well as there's a huge disruption from technology that is now starting to take weight in businesses. Right. Trinidad is not quite there yet, but they're getting there, and there's a really interesting time. So I think from an opportunity point of view, there's no better time than now. There's so many opportunities that can evolve, and I think as a young person now, either going into business, whether they work for they want to do something on themselves, or they want to work for a company, they're going to find a lot of opportunities from that point of view. A lot of new sales channels can come out of that, and that disruption is actually going to turn into enablement. So there can be a lot of opportunities that the youth can evolve to, particularly in the technology field. A lot of the older businesses aren't thinking like that, so it's so important to now really run into that while the older businesses are kind of stuck in their ways.
Keep up with the times. Well, at this point, Matthew, I'd like to thank you so much. It was really enjoyable to listen to you and all your knowledge in your field, and I very much enjoyed the insight you shared with us.
Thank you very much. I enjoy being here. Thank you for having me.
We thank you for viewing our SCRIP-J vlog series, Working Wonders. Now, if you found this content to be interesting and of value, feel free to like, comment, and share, because we'd love to have your feedback. Look out for our next vlog and stay connected with us via social media, or check out our website, SCRIP-J.com. You can see the links in our post description. And remember, keep doing the wonderful work that you do. See you soon.